My name is Alonso Llosa, the director of Living Legend. Writer.
Alonso, could you tell us about the film?
Sure. Well, it's a film that it's based on a bunch of people that I know from Peru. It's a mother-son relationship in which the mother loves to keep their children at home, and the sons kind of love it, and they love to stay home, and at the same time they dream of having this sort of a very successful and masculine sort of a public personality persona, and sometimes the two conflict, being at home with the mother and having this sort of a ostentatious, ultra macho image. They don't come together as easily. So this is a movie about a ultra violent, successful drug lord in Peru who just bought a penthouse apartment. Now is ready to move there, but he cannot move out of his mother's house.
His mother's house because the apron strings are not apron strings. The ties are very strong.
Very strong.
Okay, so she's okay.
So clearly, it's kind of a dark comedy.
It sounds very funny, if you know. I mean, culturally, it sounds very, very good. Where did you film it?
I filmed it in Lima, on location around Lima, the capital of Peru. Yeah.
Okay, and when you were casting it, tell us a little bit about some of the casting that you did and issues, or these people you know.
Yeah, well, there's this famous Peruvian actor. It's called Pietro Civile, and I had not considered him for the part. But right before we started shooting, I went to see this play. It was an adaptation of Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground, and this guy was playing it, and he played the lead, and he was just incredible. Like, just so powerful, so intense. There's sort of this inherent violence in this guy, and then when I saw him, I was like, this is the guy. And I had to even change the character. He was supposed to be different age, different sort of ethnic background too, but no, this is the only guy that can really play the type of character that he's supposed to be. So when we contacted him, I never thought he was going to reach back to me, but he did.
Wow.
Super open to the movie, loved the idea, and we became friends. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Did he understand? So he understood the cultural roots and the difficulty of leaving your mom's house?
Yeah, I think most men in Peru, Latin America, I think probably in the world, but I think in Latin America, that sort of mother-son relationship is, I don't know, more rooted, but there's more of a cultural
it's Latin.
weight, it's like,
It's Latin, I think. Italian
has the same thing. I think, sort of the Western Europe, I guess Spanish and Latin, the Greeks and Latin America, sort of men stay in their mom's house until they're 30, 40s, 50. In my case, my uncles live with my grandma, and they're both in their 60s, and they cannot move out.
Yeah, that's funny. So I can see the nuances, as you suggested, the dark comedy, and I can imagine the complications. Now, can you see this? This is a short, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a beginning, middle, and end, like you would in a longer narrative film? What was the construction?
Yeah, I did actually. This is something that I've been interested in doing in shorts, is to actually try to replicate a big structure and tell a story that happens over a sort of a long period of time, instead of just like a little moment, which a lot of shorts tend to do.
So Joan Janelle is telling me that you're all very, very, very upset.
I was trying to replicate not necessarily a 3-act structure, but definitely a beginning, middle, and end, and have a very clear sense of closure at the end, which is I don't know if it was successful or not, but it has an ending, which.
Don't go into it. We don't want to spoil it. But
no. I mean, it's not like grandiose or anything, but it just boom, it closes, So that was something I definitely wanted to do, sort of in order to prove also that we could translate that into a bigger movie, like that our skills as filmmakers and storytellers was clear in the short, and that it would work
In a longer
narrative too. Yeah.
Tell me why narrative as opposed to documentary.
I think it's part of maybe my childish drive to create a world and to imagine and to sort of just play with pieces, and so you can find emotion in both narrative and documentary. So the emotional aspect of the story will always be there, but then in narrative you have that extra sort of privilege of creating and imagining worlds and stories. So
It's much more creative in a way. It's the subject, I think maybe in a documentary, the subject creates the story. With
Yes.
this, you have the ability and the license.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I cannot deny that that process of creating is very fun.
Did you write this first, or did you, once you had cast it, allow the actors to contribute? How did that work?
Oh, they totally contributed. I mean, you have an idea of what you write, and then when they start playing it, you see new things come up, and a lot of times they work, a lot of times they don't, but then when something incredible happens, you go with it, and you have not imagined it, but
That's great.
you have to embrace it.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? It's like
let it go. Because I'm a writer and fiction writer. So to have to let something go, it's like the editor saying it has to be cut. So you're saying, let them go with it.
let them go with it, and I mean it's a pull and push, because sometimes you're constricted by blocking, by lighting, by production design. There's a lot of elements that you have to create in advance to fit the movie, and then when someone comes up with something completely new, it may interrupt some of the things that had already been planned. But so you need to see how much you can compromise of what you had planned, and how much you need to just stick to the plan too.
Yeah.
It's a play.
It's a play back and forth, and you have to be. It also sounds like that's part of the creative process where you're open. You cannot be this dictatorial individual. Not anymore.
No,
I
some
don't
people
think.
like that, and it works for them, and
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
in my style, I want to be a little open, and I say, like I said, it's a play of like exercising control
Yeah.
in some aspects, and then being open to others.
What have you done before? What are some of the films that you've made before? When I had spoken to you off camera, you had said that you had done other shorts. What are some examples?
Yeah, before this one, I did another one in Peru, in the Andes, in the highlands. So that was pretty amazing. It was sort of a indigenous sci-fi concept. A lot of fun to come up with, and a lot of fun to shoot. Very tough. We went up to a mountain. We were at the bottom of one of the tallest mountains in the tallest mountains of Cusco, which is a city in the Andes, and we were shooting at 15,000 feet. So the conditions were tough, very cold, extremely cold at night, and very poor oxygen. So altitude, sickness was definitely.
So you had to confront
there.
the conditions.
Yeah.
And you're filming. And what about
and the
film
community that we.
and the community.
The community that we shot, and like they distrusted us because they thought we were Chilean miners who were trying to exploit their mountains and their resources. So they gave us a lot of trouble, but we overcame that, and they were super cool in the end. And then the movie, played in a couple festivals. It was a movie for my masters. I did I'm afraid that
that was very challenging
Oh, yeah.
for you to make that selection, and now of course, but every time you do something, it helps along the way, and here you are. How long did it take you to film this current film,
the current one,
which is called again? Make sure to see it.
Living Legend.
The Living Legend. Okay.
Living Legend. Premiering at the Hamptons Film Festival. It took me maybe a year from writing the first draft of the script to finishing the last cut with color and the final score. In total, probably about a year. And now people take that much or much less to make feature films. This is just a short and it took that long.
But it's from start to finish.
From start
And
to
did you have funding? Where did you get your funding, or did you do any, independent campaigns, or how did it work?
Private donations. I love the producer of the film, Olga Goister, who's a friend and classmate that I met at my master's program. She did a lot of the fundraising from private donations and a combination of student loans.
Wow.
So yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. That's
the
it.
sacrifices one makes.
I
for
recently
their
saw Don Cheadle in his Miles Ahead.
Oh, right.
He
did
had
the
to
Kickstarter,
fund it.
right?
That's
He
right.
did a Kickstarter
Indiegogo and Kickstarter. He had to do the same thing, and he said we just cobbled this together. So it's it's something that's in the industry. But I think that brings to filmmakers such a resilience and a power, so that they have control over their own work, and they're able to say, okay, I want this way, and so forth.
I mean, there's so much work. Sometimes you wonder, why are you doing all this? Why all the effort for a movie that you're making? I don't know.
But
It is a little bit crazy, and you need to remain crazy to keep believing in it.
But here you are. And also, do you have anything better to do with your life?
I don't know it. Yeah. I really don't know it.
Oh,
but,
well, I don't know. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to it. I think the concept is very funny, because I'm coming and being associated with, the culture, and not able to let your son go, and not wanting to go, but yet you have to be macho in front of your friends and all this.
Yeah,
and then
which is all ridiculous. It's all a ridiculous construct. You need to play, perform, and
it's great.
Funny stuff.
So now, when is it showing at the Hamptons?
At 2 p.m. on Sunday, October.
Okay,
12th.
so that's 2 p.m. today. And one last question. Do you have distribution?
We're looking. Distribution for sure, it's not the easiest,
Yeah.
but there are a few avenues, and so we're looking.
Good, sounds hopeful. And are you going to other festivals?
So
in this
far,
country?
we're sending, and so we're waiting to hear. So
Great.
from a
How about Tribeca? Have you applied to Tribeca?
Yep.
Great. I hope to see you in Tribeca.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I
that would be